Cam Thomas is an absolute bucket. All this man knows how to do is put ball in hoop, and that's it. And honestly, on a young Nets team, that's all he kind of really needs to know how to do. Can he play defense? Not really, but that's why he has a teammate like Mikal Bridges to carry the defensive load. Can he get rebounds? No, but again, that's why the Nets have big men like Ben Simmons or Royce O'Neal to grab the boards. Can Cam Thomas dish the ball? No, but that's why they have a point guard in Spencer Dinwiddie who can get good players the ball. Hell, they don't even need to spread the ball out. They can just feed Cam Thomas because he's so good at scoring. Now, if you don't know who Cam Thomas is, or you just recently heard about him, that makes a lot of sense because this man, while being in the league for about 3 years at this point, only burst onto the scene a few months ago back in February during last season when both Kyrie and Kevin Durant were traded away from the team. They needed players, obviously after Brooklyn lost all their superstars. They needed someone who was going to step up and fill that scoring role. And that's when Cam Thomas came into the picture. Because shortly after Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving left the team, Cam Thomas had this little 3-game stretch in February where he scored 40 points back to back to back. And that's really what put this man on the map. That's what got everybody's eyes open to the idea that Cam Thomas is a legitimate NBA player, not just some role player that might be washed up and out of the league in 3 years. He put some die-hard NBA fans on notice back in February on the 4th when he went up against the Washington Wizards in a game in which he played 30 minutes, which is more than his usual at the time, and in that game he shot 16 for 23. Yes, one of the big things about his shooting is that not only does he chuck up a lot of shots, but he's pretty efficient when he gets a lot of opportunities. So he shot 4 from 5 from the 3-point line, and he had 44 points that game. And that's not the only thing he did versus the Wizards, because he was also able to snag 5 rebounds and have 5 assists. It's actually one of the best all-around games this man has ever had. And while it's not rare for a role player to have a breakout game here or there, I mean, everyone remembers TJ Warren's 50-point game in the bubble. Yes, even a guy like TJ Warren can have a great shooting night, but it is rare for a role player, seemingly role player, to drop 40 points in 3 straight games, because after the Wizards game, he would show up 2 days later versus the Los Angeles Clippers, where he would put up another 40-point bomb. This time, it was 47. Now, one of the big reasons he was able to get to 47 points that game was because he did play 38 minutes. It was a very tight game versus the Clippers. Plus, he shot 7 for 11 from the 3-point line. And again, all around shooting wise, pretty efficient. I mean, 15 for 29 from the field, another masterclass from Cam Thomas, and it just so happened to come in back-to-back games. Again, he got like 4 boards and 3 assists, so he was like an all-around type of player, slightly. But like I've been preaching this entire time, Cam Thomas's best quality would have to be his efficient scoring, something the Phoenix Suns got to witness firsthand as they were the 3rd game in which he dropped 40 plus points. This time it was 43 in another 39-minute outing, so he had another day where all he did was play basketball. This time it was 11 from 23 from the field, so he did shoot a lot. He had a lot less attempts this game. Didn't stop him from dropping 40. Why? Because, again, mad efficient. Plus, he also got 5 boards, 5 rebounds. Did a little bit of everything. That's 3 games in a row where he puts up nearly the exact same numbers. But as the season went on, he would go on to shoot slightly worse for a few games. His minutes would be reduced, and then he'd go on to have a handful of games where he was DNP'd. For some reason, Jack Vaughn didn't want to play him or didn't feel like he deserved to be played. For those games, we will never know the reason why. So heading into the 2023-24 season, no one knew what to expect from this new-look Brooklyn Nets team. I mean, they did make the playoffs. In fact, they got bullied right away in the first round. So the playoffs from last year aren't really worth mentioning. I mean, the only reason they were a playoff team is because Kevin Durant took that team to the playoffs with how well he played in the first half of that season, only for him to end the season on a brand new team. So you could argue that the Brooklyn Nets team who earned a playoff spot wasn't even the same Brooklyn Nets team by the end of the year, which makes sense as to why they got bullied out of the playoffs. Anyway, like I was saying, heading into the 23-24 season, no one knew what to expect. Mikal Bridges was obviously a superstar in the making, but you need a lot more than just one piece to make an NBA team. And that's when Cam Thomas came into play. I mean, in the debut game, 25 minutes, a lot more than what people were expecting, especially with how last season ended. But he made sure that he wasn't just going to be another Jeremy Lin, another somebody with a little insanity run that was going to be forgotten about and maybe talked about briefly here or there. No, he made sure he was going to be a staple of the NBA. And he proved that when he went up against the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Brooklyn Nets season debut. He put up 36 points as he shot 13 from 21 from the field. He also grabbed 3 rebounds and 2 assists, which happens a lot when he scores a lot of points. He doesn't really do anything else. Not that he needs to, it's not his job. Man's job has been and always will be to put ball in hoop. And he didn't just stop after the Cavs game on opening night. No, he did the same thing to the Mavericks and the same thing to the Cavaliers right after. I mean, in the second game of the season versus the Dallas Mavericks, he had 33 minutes. Again, he shot 12 for 19 from the field. Yeah, what is that? 63% from the field. Amazing. He was perfect from the free throw line. That's why he was able to get 30 points. And he had a little more rebounds. I mean, he had 7 total rebounds, which is way more than his average. So he played well versus the Mavs. The problem is, when he has some of his best games, the Nets seem to lose those games because they lost versus the Cavs and they lost versus the Mavericks. However, that narrative didn't stand true for much longer because versus a not-so-good Charlotte Hornets team who has been dealing with controversy left and right. I mean, they had one of the craziest off seasons for so many reasons. Yeah, they weren't the greatest team coming into the NBA, and Cam Thomas plays 37 minutes. Well, if he's playing 37 minutes, he's gonna have 30 plus points, and that's exactly what happened. He had 33 points, 10 for 17 from the field. What is that? Another 58% from the field. Beautiful. Did he do any rebounds? Did he have any assists? Maybe a few here and there, but that, who cares? As long as Cam Thomas is scoring, the people paying his paychecks are going to be satisfied. And they beat the Hornets, which put them at 1-2. Now, the next 2 games in the season, which were versus the Miami Heat, Chicago Bulls, the Brooklyn Nets won both of those games. Cam Thomas didn't have the best shooting nights, but he was still involved in the offense. He ended up scoring 30 points combined in those 2 games, so it wasn't the best for him, but who cares? You can have off nights. But my favorite aspect from Cam Thomas is his determination to just keep on shooting. So after 2 mediocre performances, what does he do versus a very good Boston Celtics team? Yeah, he gets 24 shot attempts up, makes 11 of them, has 27 points in a loss, yes. But he wasn't the reason they lost. His efficiency was pretty good. Did he play any defense? Did he get any rebounds? Did he get any assists? No. But he did his job offensively and was a net positive for the team in the loss. I mean, Cam Thomas has been one of the best parts about this young NBA season. When the Lakers are on, I'm gonna watch their game. I'm a Lakers fan. When the Spurs are on, I'm gonna tune in because Wembanyama is awesome. When the Brooklyn Nets are playing and Cam Thomas is healthy, yeah, I'll be there and I'll watch because Cam Thomas is one of my favorite players right now. And he proved to be worthy of being called someone's favorite player when he performed against the Milwaukee Bucks and took Damian Lillard head on because he went into Deer Country and showed out. He had another 40-point game, this time 45, marking the highest amount he's ever scored this young season, and he did it 17 for 33 from the field. Yes, 33 shots this man put up, 16 of those from the three-point line. He was shooting consistently, and he shot when it mattered too, because a lot of those points did come in the fourth quarter when things were going back and forth. And while he was not able to will the Brooklyn Nets to a victory, he was one of the big reasons they stayed in that game for as long as they did. Honestly, if Cam Thomas had even an off night, then the Brooklyn Nets are probably looking at a blowout. There is no understating his importance to this team. And that's why I decided to make a video covering how good he is. The title will probably be called something simple like Cam Thomas is a hooper, right? But anyway, that's about it for the video. That's all I wanted to talk about, was just how good he is and how awesome it is to watch Brooklyn Nets basketball again, especially after Kyrie and KD left. Catch y'all later. Much love. Deuces.